Back to invest and trade with Jax. We're going to go over our friend Bitcoin. We've reached our target area of 17 to 19K. So we're going to go into it. Hope everybody's doing well. Good morning from Johannesburg, South Africa. Currently we're sitting at 19,142. We're down about 10% almost on the day. Sitting at market cap of 363 billion. 24-hour volume, 31.29 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to crypto.com, you can sign up to the world's fastest growing crypto app. Grab one of their incredible Visa cards, cashback in crypto, free Spotify, Netflix, Prime, travel incentives, depending on the level of card they have, $25 just for signing up through my referral. So here we are on the 1 hour time frame. So we put in a beautiful ABC correction, and looks like we're coming down for that fifth and final wave within our Elliott wave structure. This could be our wave 1, where we've come down, we've created a wave 1, wave 2, looking at our wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. That could bring you down to that 17K price target. Now technically, because we have lost this wave 3 low, we can bottom out at any time in the short term, anywhere in between about 17 to 19K. Of course, we can continue and go lower. We really don't know until we start to see a bounce. We are quite oversold here on the RSI. But what I want to show you guys is the daily time frame. So we had a massive psychological round number of 20K. Everybody goes long. Everybody says, well, the bottom is in. We're at 20K. You know, we're sitting below the 200-week moving average. We should see a bounce. What do the whales do? They take advantage. They flush everybody out. They drop the price down. They flush out all the long positions. They liquidate the longs. They shake out the weak hands before seeing that potential bounce. So I do think we have a good opportunity to see a nice bounce off 17 to 19K, quite possibly back up to 28, 30K before, in my opinion, coming down once again. Because I don't think there's enough fear in the market. There's not enough people that are saying, don't buy Bitcoin, don't buy cryptocurrencies, you know, it's a scam. But once we start to break lower, if we break below 17K, if we see a big push up, what do you think is going to happen if we see a large push up to 28, 30,000? Everyone is going to think that the bear market is over and the bull market is starting up once again, and the whales will take advantage and push the price back down. Look right here. This is the previous bear market of 2018. Look what the price did here. We right down to a major level of support. Let me drop it in here. Okay, perfect. So we came down to 3,500. We had a lot of support in this area, and we saw a nice bounce. So a lot of people are thinking, okay, the bottom's in. You know, the bear market is over. They pushed the price lower all the way down to about 3K. Liquidate some of these long positions. You see a big, beautiful bounce. Everyone's like, okay, the bear market's over. We're going to see a massive bull market once again. And the whales push the price back down once again. We consolidate. We create an ascending triangle, and then we break out. And you can take a measurement from the bottom all the way out to when we started to break out. It took 110 days. So it took over 3 months before we started to break out back to the upside. So once again, we've come down to 20K. The whales push the price down, shake out the weak hands, liquidate the long positions. And then what I think is going to happen, of course, it's just my opinion, not financial advice, is we see a big push up to 25, 28, 30K. Everybody thinks the bear market is over. They start going long, and we come back down once again. And maybe then we start to consolidate in between that 17 to 19K price target for 3 months or so before seeing the bull market resume once again. Just my opinion. I mean, we could even come down to that 10 to 13K price target where a lot of people think we're going to come down to, just due to the fact of the inflation and the economic crisis we're seeing basically worldwide, mostly in the US, affecting the stock market here. There are quite a few analysts that think we could come down to that 11 to 13K price target. I do think that's worst case scenario. But what I think is happening right here is the whales are pushing the price down. They flush out the long positions. They flush out the weak hands. And then you see a nice bounce back to the upside. Everyone starts to go long. Everyone starts to get really bullish. You start to see a lot of bullish news sentiments all over the place. And then the price comes down one more time to make a lower, to make an equal low, just as we did in the previous bear market. We saw a beautiful bounce, and then we came back down, and we created basically in a double bottom, and then we created an ascending triangle. And then after 3 months, we started to break out after over 100 days. So I think there's a lot of time before the bottom is in. Even if this were to be the bottom, we bounce, we come back down, we consolidate, create some sort of reversal pattern before seeing that large breakout to the upside. But if we come down and we significantly lose about 17,000, this support here, we start to backtest it as resistance. That's when we could potentially come down to the 12 to about 13 or 11 to 13K price target. I think that's the worst case scenario. I'd be pretty surprised if we came that low. But I'll continue to dollar cost average. I've started to dollar cost average into my long-term holds, very small 5% entries for my total allocations. For many of the altcoins I want to start DCAing in. Because what I'll do is if we drop lower, is I'll start either like 1.5xing or doubling my investments. So every time I hit my next buy zone, it brings my average price down more than halfway for my altcoin positions. If we look at Bitcoin here on the weekly, we've been watching the 200-week moving average. Just going to quickly take out all my little squigglies here. So we've been watching the 200-week moving average at 22K. So if we close the week and we fail to get back above the 200-week moving average and we start to backtest it as resistance, if we start to do a little something like this, that could be quite negative, where the 200-week comes like this, and we start to backtest it as resistance. That would give me a stronger signal that we may come lower, down to that 11 to about 13K price target. But in my opinion, which we've seen many times before in crypto, we've reached a psychological level of 20K. We're all the way back down to the previous bull market high, which is actually coming in at about 19.5. So the whales may just be pushing down the price to scare people to liquidate the longs before seeing that nice bounce. But I do think if you see that nice bounce, we could easily get rejected once again and either come back down to create that reversal pattern or come a little bit lower, start to consolidate before seeing that breakout to the upside. But if we come below 17K, this level of support, and we start to backtest it as resistance, then I would think it would be more likely of us coming down to that about 12 to 11 to 13K price target, this big level of support here. We'd be doing something we've never seen before in the history of crypto, which is break below the 200-week moving average. But we would be seeing about an 85% correction from the high to the low. Yeah, it would be about 82% here. But as I've been mentioning, we didn't have the blow off tops like we did in previous bull markets. So maybe we won't correct as hard as we have in previous bear markets. I do think there's a good chance of us finding some sort of bottom here in between 17 and 19K. Unless we break below 17K, we start to backtest it as resistance, then I'd be like, okay, we're going to come lower. But what I'm anticipating here, and it's just my opinion, is that we see some sort of bounce, 25K, 28K, 30K, and everyone starts to go long, gets really bullish, and then we come back down once again to retest those lows or to go a little bit lower here. But if we close the week underneath the 200-week moving average and we fail to get back above it going into next week, the weekly close is on Sunday, then that could be more confirmation that we are going to come lower. But as of right now, we have completed our 5-wave structure, so we could bottom out in the short term at any time. But as I've been mentioning, there is that alternative wave count where we've come down and we've made a wave 1. If we see a large bounce and we fail to break above the wave 1 high, we could be looking at a wave 2 correction and come down for a deeper wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. And that's when you could come all the way down to that 11 to 13K price target. Just something I've been watching here. But in the short term, I do think we've come down for a little bit of a wave 1, wave 2 correction. This is your wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. But these smaller waves, they're harder to count here. So I do think we could see a nice bounce in between the 17 to 20K level, especially if we come up and we break these previous highs of about 23K. Then that's when you could see that big push up to 26, 27, 28. And I think it's going to fake out a lot of traders and a lot of investors, and the whales will push the price right back down once again, because that's their goal, is to make as much money off the retail traders and investors as possible. It's kind of sick, but that's how the markets work. But looking at the RSI here on the daily time frame, let me pop it back open. As I've been mentioning, on the weekly, we're more oversold on the weekly than we've ever been in a bear market, and the daily time frame as well. If we look at the RSI, we've been oversold for a couple weeks now. Let me push this up. And we're all the way back down to where we were in the bear market of the summer lows. If we scroll back, oh, sorry guys, we scroll back to the Corona dump here. Let me turn off the 200 week. You can see we're right down very close to where we were on the Corona dump. We saw a large bounce. Even right here, we're very low on the daily RSI. We consolidated, we saw a bounce. Here's the bear market of 2018. We were a little bit lower in the RSI, and we did see a large bounce right here. We saw a significant bounce, consolidated, created that ascending triangle, and we broke out. I do not think we're going to see a V-shaped recovery out of this bear market. If we do see a significant bounce, I do think we'll come back down, create some sort of ascending triangle reversal pattern before seeing that large push back to the upside. But if we stay below 17K, if we backtest it as resistance, if we backtest the 200-week moving average coming in at 20K, as resistance, then we could come lower. But as of right now, I have been targeting that 17 to 19K before seeing a potential large bounce, in my opinion. We'll have to see what happens here. On the 4-hour time frame, we do have a bullish divergence, lower lows, higher lows on the RSI, but we are in a bear market, in a downtrend, and these can easily be invalidated. But I do think we could potentially see a nice bounce off 17 to 19K. That's basically it for this one. Just a little update here. I've now started to give spot trades as well with my trade signals at the $10 membership for my spot trades, as well as my leverage trades are coming in at the $10 membership. We've been making some juicy profits shorting ADA here. We have buy and take profit zones if you want to start dollar cost averaging into your positions, as well as 1,900 members posting chart patterns, talking all things crypto. And if you want to trade with me, make sure to sign up to Bybit, $4,100 in bonuses, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, much love. Take care.